A team of South African divers descends through murky water to the floor of the Atlantic Ocean. They are 30 meters down, inside an upside-down tugboat. Their mission is body recovery. No one has survived for 60 hours at the bottom of the sea. When the diver reaches for what he thinks is another corpse, the hand grabs him back. What they find next will become one of the most extraordinary rescue videos ever recorded. Harrison Okene was 29 years old, a ship's cook from the oil town of Warri in Nigeria's Niger Delta. He lived in a modest two-bedroom flat with his wife Akpovona. He had taken the cook position aboard the Jascon 4 as a last-minute replacement. The Jascon 4 was a 33-meter anchor-handling tugboat, built in 2004, operated by West African Ventures for Chevron Nigeria. Her job was simple: hold steady while an oil tanker loaded crude at a single buoy mooring system, about 20 miles off the coast of Escravos, in the Gulf of Guinea. 12 men aboard. Routine offshore work in one of the most productive oil regions on Earth. Sunday, May 26, 2013, 4:50 in the morning. Harrison Okene leaves his cabin wearing only his boxer shorts. He walks to the bathroom, and then the ocean strikes. A massive swell, possibly a rogue wave, slams into the Jascon 4. The tow line connecting the tug to the tanker snaps like thread. The ship begins to roll. In seconds, it flips completely upside down. Water rushes in at terrifying speed. In total darkness, Okene forces open the metal bathroom door. He finds 3 crewmates in the corridor. They are trying to reach the watertight exit hatch together, but the water is too fast, too violent. The surge sweeps the 3 men ahead of him, away into the flooding darkness. Okene knows immediately they are dead. The ship crashes onto the ocean floor inverted, settling at a depth of 30 meters. 11 of the 12 crew members are killed. Most are trapped in their locked cabins. They never had a chance. Okene is alive, but he is submerged in pitch-black water inside an upside-down ship on the ocean floor. He cannot see his own hand. He is wearing nothing but boxer shorts in water cold enough to kill him within hours. Swept by the surging water into a toilet adjoining an officer's cabin, Okene begins to feel his way through the flooded wreck. His hands find walls, doors, objects, all inverted, all wrong, and then he finds it. In the engineer's office, where the ship has flipped, an air pocket has formed. When the Jascon 4 turned upside down, air was trapped in the highest point of the inverted structure. At 30 meters depth, the pressure compresses everything, 4 atmospheres pressing down on his body. But the pocket holds roughly 1.2 meters of breathable air in a space of about 13 cubic meters. It is not much, but it is enough to keep 1 man alive. For now, for the next 60 hours, Harrison Okene exists in conditions that would break most human beings. He is in total darkness. The water is freezing cold. He is nearly naked. He constructs a makeshift platform from a mattress and broken wood panels to keep his body partially above the waterline, a decision that almost certainly saves his life by slowing hypothermia. He finds 2 life jackets, some coveralls, a flashlight, a tin of sardines, and a single can of Coca-Cola. He eats the sardines. He drinks the Coke. He tries drinking seawater, which burns his throat. But the worst part is what surrounds him. He can sense the bodies of his dead crewmates in the adjacent spaces. He can smell the decomposition beginning. And then the sounds start. Fish and crawfish have entered the wreck. They are feeding on the bodies. The crawfish bite Okene repeatedly. He can hear them. He is 30 meters underwater, in the dark, surrounded by his dead friends being consumed by marine life. And no one in the world knows he is alive. In the darkness, Okene prays. He recites Psalm 54 over and over. "Save me, O God, by your name." His wife Akpovona had texted him the psalm before his voyage. He clings to it like a rope. He also tries to signal for help. He finds a water dispenser, pulls out the metal filter, and hammers on the hull of the ship. Boom! Boom, boom. The sound echoes through the wreck, but there is no one to hear it. The rescue vessels are still hours away. He makes a pact with God. If he survives this, he will never go to sea again. The hours blur. He loses track of time. He has no way of knowing whether it is day or night, whether anyone is searching, whether anyone even knows the jascon 4 has gone down. All he has is the air pocket, the prayer, and the will to survive. Here is why Harrison Okene should have been dead. At 30 meters, the pressure is 4 times what it is at the surface. His body was absorbing massive amounts of nitrogen into his blood and tissues, the same gas that kills scuba divers who ascend too quickly. Even if someone had found him, they could not simply pull him to the surface. He would have died from decompression sickness, the bends, as nitrogen formed lethal bubbles in his blood. But the more immediate threat was invisible. Carbon dioxide. Every breath Okene exhaled was slowly poisoning his own air supply. Dr. Eric Hextall of Duke University's Center for Hyperbaric Medicine calculated that in a 13 cubic meter air pocket, a single person would reach measurable CO2 toxicity at about 56 hours. At 70,000 parts per million, consciousness begins to fade. Total loss of consciousness at roughly 79 hours. Okene was rescued at approximately hour 60. He was already past the toxicity threshold. He was running a race against chemistry that he did not even know he was in, and he was losing. 120 kilometers away, the diving support vessel Twelfth receives the call. Aboard her are 6 saturation divers from DCN Diving, a Dutch subsea services company. They have been working on a pipeline project at 70 meters depth. The vessel begins the 17-hour journey to the wreck site. During the transit, the dive team does something remarkable. The 6 divers, already living under pressure in the ship's saturation chambers, are gradually brought from 70 meters of pressure down to 30 meters, matching the depth of the sunken jascon 4. Dive Team 2 consists of 3 South African saturation divers, Nico van Heerden, age 32, Andre Erasmus, and Daryl Oosthuizen. Their mission when they arrive is body recovery. After 60 hours underwater, there is zero expectation of survivors. They are diving to bring the dead home. May 28th, late afternoon, Dive Team 2 descends in the diving bell to the ocean floor. They enter the upside-down wreck of the jascon 4. The water is murky, dark, filled with debris and the remains of the crew. They begin recovering bodies. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then, on the project manager's TV monitor aboard the Twelfth, something appears. A hand. Tony Walker, the DCN project manager, watches the screen. He assumes it is another corpse. Diver Nico van Heerden moves toward it. And then the hand moves. It reaches out and grabs the diver. Van Heerden gets, in his own words, a huge fright. He calls into his microphone, "Corpse, corpse, a corpse," and then stops because the corpse is breathing. The corpse is looking at him. The corpse is Harrison Okene, and he has been alive at the bottom of the Atlantic Ocean for 60 hours. Tony Walker would later say. The diver acknowledged that he had seen the hand, and then, when he went to grab the hand grabbed him. The divers spring into action. They pour hot water over Okone's hypothermic body to warm him. They fit him with a diving helmet connected to the same heliox breathing mix they use, a helium-oxygen blend that explains the high-pitched voices in the now famous helmet camera footage. But they cannot simply swim him to the surface. After 60 hours at 30 meters depth, Okone's body is fully saturated with nitrogen. If he ascends directly, he will die. The nitrogen will form bubbles in his blood, fatal decompression sickness. As diving medicine expert Petar de Noble put it, if he came to the surface immediately, he would die. Instead, the divers carefully guide Okene out of the wreck and into the diving bell, which is maintained at the same 30 meters of pressure. He is transferred to the saturation chambers aboard the Twelfth, and there he will spend another 2.5 days, roughly 60 more hours, as the pressure is gradually reduced to match the surface. Harrison Okene survived 60 hours at the bottom of the ocean, and then he had to survive 60 more hours in a steel chamber just to reach the surface alive. Harrison Okene emerged from the decompression chamber with no lasting physical injuries. His vital signs were completely normal, but the damage was invisible. He returned to Wari haunted by nightmares. His wife Akpavona described it. When he is sleeping, he has that shock. He will just wake up in the night saying, "Honey, see? The bed is sinking. We are in the sea." He was the only survivor of 12. He did not attend his colleagues' funerals. He was afraid of what the families would say. Why is he the only one to survive? And then came something he never expected. Some Nigerians accused him of using black magic to survive. His own pastor asked him at church whether he had used juju. Okene was devastated. "I was so surprised. How could a man of God be saying this?" By 2015, his marriage had ended. He was living alone in Wari with his dog. No children, no wife, a dead-end cooking job. He would later say, "I was alone. I was frustrated. I was depressed, but nobody knew." And then Harrison Okene did something no one expected. He decided to go back. In 2015, despite his brother's objections, Okene enrolled in a 3-month commercial diving course. The man who had made a pact with God to never return to the sea was going to learn to work beneath it. He earned his IMCA Class 2 commercial air diver certification, and at the graduation ceremony, the person who handed Harrison Okene his diving diploma was Nico van Heerden, the same South African diver who had pulled him from the wreck of the Jascon 4 2 years earlier. Okene went to work for the same company that had saved his life. Today, at 40 years old, he is a professional commercial diver, installing, constructing, and repairing oil and gas facilities. He can dive to 50 meters. He has a new partner and 3 children. He advocates for maritime safety. Harrison Okene spent 60 hours in the darkest place a human being can survive. And then he chose to make the ocean his home. If this story amazed you, subscribe for more verified stories of incredible human survival. Real stories. Zero fiction. All facts in this video were verified with DCN Diving official records, National Geographic, and multiple independent sources.